What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Big Daddy Gaming coming back at you with Buried. We're going to do episode 3 now. I know it's been a little while since I've played this, since I've recorded this. I just got sidetracked with other stuff, and as you know, I didn't post last week, so I didn't get a chance to. But we're back on a roll now, and we're going to keep going, see where we go in this underground facility. Now that we have Marcus. That dick. We follow Marcus into what I can only describe as a control room of sorts. There are countless computer screens, some of which are obviously coming back on from having been shut off. Everything looks extremely complicated, from screens filled with code and data to what is obviously a security system. It reminds me of a miniaturized version of the operations center in just about every space travel movie I've ever seen. Marcus is running from one screen to another, apparently looking for some pertinent bit of information. "Where's the first aid kit?" I snap at him. Marcus stops in his tracks as if he has forgotten the whole reason for bringing us down here. "Oh yeah," he says, rushing to the left side of the room. There, he hunkers down by an opened panel in the wall. What I assume is the emergency vault from where he got the rifle. I can either look into the vault and check what's there, or look at a bunch of computer monitors that I have no idea. I don't know. As much as I want to look into the vault, I feel like he's gonna, be pissed off at me if I do. So I'm just gonna look at some computer monitors, because fuck it. I can make sense of very little that I see. Mostly numbers, odd-looking maps, and charts. Altogether, they show what I assume is the working, beating heart of the peculiar facility Dennis and I have stumbled into. Aside from the charts, there are scrolling numbers running along the bottom of the screen. Some are temperature readings, but that's all I can tell for sure. I see one screen in particular that I assume would mean bad news for anyone using these monitors for work. Failure. Trial 142B aborted. Error 4532-5. Danger. Anomaly detected. Marcus finally pulls out the first aid kit and turns around. When I look back to motion Dennis over, he's paler than ever. "Come on," I tell him, but he's not moving from the place on the floor where he sits against the wall. I slide the first aid kit over to him and go scrambling to his side. Between the struggle for the rifle upstairs and arriving in this room, he's faded fast. I struggle to lift his shirt up, then over his shoulders as the dried blood holds it in place. The mere act causes him to grimace. "This might hurt a little," I tell Dennis. He only nods. He doesn't seem to care. Either slow and painful or rip it off like a band-aid. But it's also at the point where it's not like a cut and a band-aid. It's a shirt literally holding his, acting as skin, along with the clotted blood. So if I just tear it off, it might reopen whatever healing has done to the wound. I'm gonna pull it off gently. I'm sorry, Dennis. I'm gonna be gentle with Dennis. I lift the shirt gently off and it makes a sucking sound. There's so much blood that the moisture tries to keep the shirt pulled to him. Dennis lets out a little moan, but seems to relax in spite of his injuries. With the shirt fully removed, the extent of his injuries becomes more clear. His wound is more visible now, although it's particularly hidden by the blood that has started to clot around it. My medical knowledge is slim. Basically just a bunch of basics I learned in Boy Scouts. I look over to Marcus, hopefully, and ask, "You have any training?" "Zero," he says. "Sorry." It's just as well, I guess. He's far too concerned with what's happening on the monitors to be of much help anyways. I start by taking out the several rolls of gauze within the kit, and wipe as much blood as I can away from the wound on his side. It's even worse than I had figured from the start. The gash is deep and dark. I'm pretty sure it's infected too. He's going to need stitches, that's for sure, but I have no idea how to even start that. Besides, I don't see the tools for it in the kit. When I splash rubbing alcohol over the wound, he responds with a hoarse yelp of surprise, but nothing more. His eyes are locked on me and he looks appreciative, but he's also scared. "Be honest," Dennis says hopefully. "How bad does it look? Do you think I'll live? Fuck, man. I want to keep him hopeful. I want to keep him going. Morale's a really powerful thing. If someone honestly believes that they're going to be just fine, they have a better chance of pulling through than if they think they're fucked right off the bat. So I'm gonna keep reassuring him. He'll be fine, no problem. Good to know, he says, because I sure don't feel like that. You've been through hell, I say. I think it feels worse than it actually looks. Thanks. That's a relief. I won't lie, you're gonna have a scar, I say, trying to be funny. He chuckles a bit, but there's no humor in it. He rests his head against the wall and closes his eyes as I finish up. I place one layer of gauze against the wound and bind it with medical tape. I then reinforce it with a second layer. I know it's meager, but it's all I can do. Thanks, Roger, he says, actually managing to force out a smile. I feel a lot better. I think I'll be fine. I'm not so sure about that, but I'm glad I was able to encourage him. I look back to Marcus, and he is looking back at us, deep in thought. My eye is starting to really swell up from where he kicked me earlier. Maybe I shouldn't have let him off so easy. Are these first aid kits all you have in this facility? I ask him. If there's anything better, I don't know about it, he says. I noticed then that his defensive posture is no longer there. Something is different now, just a slight change to his demeanor. He's seen something on those monitors that has him frightened more than he already was before. What is it? I ask. What's wrong? His eyes travel around the room, and it's obvious that he's trying to decide whether or not to tell me the truth. I'm just going to look at the monitors. I'm not even going to worry about it. Rather than wait for him, I get up and scan the screens behind him, seeing if I could find any clues I had missed moments ago. After a few moments, I see a few things that I can comprehend, that even I can comprehend, in the complex information on most of the screens. On one screen, I see what looks like a power meter that is slowly climbing upwards. A single message is flashing beneath it. It reads, "Unexpected power failure. Foreign entity." Another message trickling along the bottom of a black screen says, "Safety locks on level 3, containment doors engaged. Override." I see scenes on a few other screens that I assume are security cameras showing hallways and passages from elsewhere in the facility. One of them shows the first level hallway we were on just a few minutes ago. Another shows a hallway I don't recognize. The floor is covered in blood. From just off the screen, I see what I think might be a human body, but it's bent in an impossible way. It looks like the body's legs and torso have somehow been merged or melted into the floor. He would know more about the systems than about the bodies, so I'm going to ask him about the system. This place has backups for its backups, Marcus says. It's not ever supposed to suffer a full electrical shutdown. What does foreign entity mean? I ask, hoping he has a sane answer. I have no idea. It keeps coming off and on. Whatever it is, it keeps entering and exiting to set off the sensors. What the hell? I ask. There's something still happening. We're still in danger. He turns away, clearly fearing he has already said too much. And as bad as that is, there's a scene on another monitor that makes my blood go cold and my fear spike to level somewhere near terror. The scene is very familiar. It's the locking site. The equipment is unmistakably mine. I can even see my truck. Something like fury starts to rise up in my guts, momentarily pushing aside the fear. For a moment, I consider just tearing into him. A few punches and a shove against the wall, nothing more. I want answers, and I want them now, but I'm not sure which would provide more answers, asking calmly or kicking his ass. As much as I would like to kick the fuck out of Marcus, because that's what I would do in real life, I have to put emotions aside because I have no attachment to this logging company and just question him calmly. Could you please explain to me why you've been spying on my crew? My anger is prodding at me and I have to hold it back again. It's near the surface, demanding release. It was part of my job, mine and a few others. Your crew has been watched ever since you set up your equipment. Why? Because you're working with heavy equipment, some of which digs into the ground less than a mile from a secret government facility. I had no idea of that, I say. How could I have known? Marcus gives me that same crooked, trembling smile that is beginning to creep me out. Because those things would draw attention to this place, he says. You have no idea how secretive this facility is. Besides, I know that the higher-ups looked into it. Your site isn't on government land. It's shy about 300 yards. Oh well. Every piece of your equipment is on private property. The timber tract you purchased from Mr. Gladstone 2 months ago. So even if we wanted to intervene and keep your crew away, we couldn't have without stirring up a fuss. The fact that someone with such a low-level clearance knows this much about my locking crew is unnerving. If you've been watching us, why didn't you recognize us when we met in the hallway? I ask. He shakes his head and exhales, like it's obvious. The cameras have a bird's eye view. I can't see faces. We just track bodies and names. Ask calmly. I'm just gonna stay calm. Stay as calm as I can. I'm just gonna stay as calm as I can. So since you have all this surveillance, do you know where the rest of my crew is? I do my best to keep my voice level, even though my impulse is to shout. Well, Marcus says, all of you were on site as usual before the incident. It had been a few hours since I had checked, though. They might have come near the facility, or maybe not. I don't know. He says this casually, like it's not important. Well, are they inside the facility? I ask. You have cameras everywhere, right? Do you see them? Marcus shakes his head. I've been looking all over and I haven't seen your crew. They aren't here. But, he adds, the lower levels don't have any cameras, classified. I'm not sure how they would have gotten there, but it's a possibility. I'm still shocked that we were being watched. Do they know everything about us? I'm telling you, Marcus said. The depth of influence in this facility goes deep. There are 36 employees down here. Outside of those employees, only 5 other people know this place exists. Let's keep being calm. What do all these people do here? I ask, keeping my voice level. He doesn't even pause to consider if he should go any farther. He actually laughs when he gives me the answer. I honestly don't know everything, probably very little, but what I do know is that it is more than Black Ops. What does that mean, I ask. There's scientists here who have been disowned by their own governments because of the nature of their work. You get it now? I don't, not at all, but I don't want him to know about that. You said there are 36 employees, I say. Where are they now? He shakes his head. As far as I know, everyone else is gone. Gone where? He points to the screen that still informs us of the unexpected power failure and cringes. If this power failure was not corrected in time, there's no telling. But they're here in the facility somewhere, right? I ask, hoping someone will be able to help Dennis better than I can. I just don't know, Marcus says. They could be anywhere. Look, I say, furious with the way he's talking in riddles. I don't... God, Dennis says. I look over to him, and he looks as pale as a ghost. He stood up and his eyes are locked on the monitor closest to him. What? I ask. He simply points to the monitor and then looks away. I look to the monitor and see the locking site, but more specifically, I see the overturned dozer and the legs sticking out from under it wearing work boots right where I left him. Tony. The fact of his death seems abstract almost, like it happened in some other world or a very long time ago. I know that you already told me he was gone, Dennis whispers, but it's different actually seeing him. My God. Fuck, I should have moved it. Suddenly something blazes by the open door outside. The shape is fast and in shadow, but I'm pretty sure it's a person. Someone else is here, Marcus says. Wheeling around, he sounds very happy to discover this, so I try to follow his lead. If something bad happened at this facility, then surely the sight of another survivor is a good thing, right? We should check it out, he says. I realize this isn't the best moment to leave Dennis, after revisiting Tony's death all over again. Someone just ran by the door. I tell him, hopefully it's someone who can help us. We'll be right back. I'm I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna make sure that Dennis is okay. I always want to check on Dennis. It's fine. Go see who it is, he says, giving me a mock thumbs up. I turn to Marcus and motion for us to head out to investigate. Let's be careful, Marcus says. Depending on who it is, they might not be as hesitant to shoot a stranger as I was. I nod at him and I head for the door. I'm still holding the rifle in my hand and I don't know if I have the guts to actually use it if needed. With a final look back to Dennis, I run out into the second level hallway. Okay, let's keep going. Pretty. I really like the background pictures and the background noise for this game. It's awesome. It helps, I don't know, it helps me get immersed into it. Marcus follows. There's still fear in his eyes, but also the slightest glimmer of hope. That hope is contagious. We take off after the figure that just ran past the command center. Ahead of us, the facility presents yet another long hallway. Right away, I notice that this level of the facility seems darker, even though the lights are now all on. The hallway is adorned with numbered yellow doorways and large white panels along the walls. It's clean and well maintained, but there's something ominous about it. Up ahead, I see the fleeting motion of something dark cutting quickly to the left down a corridor. There, I say quietly, pointing up ahead. Marcus gives a nod, and we continue chasing after the person we saw blaze by the command center just moments ago. It then occurs to me that this person could be like Marcus was at first, armed and scared. Yeah, let's scream at somebody that might have a gun in their hands. Totally, that's a good idea. That's definitely what you want to do. No, I'm gonna move slowly. When we reach the intersection in the hall where I'd seen the shadow moving, I ease around the corner just in case. Sure, I have the rifle in my hands, but I don't want to use it unless I have to. I quickly dart around the corner and take the same shooting stance I've seen countless times on TV. There's a woman standing there about 10 feet away. She has reddish blonde hair and a small, mousy build. She looks terrified and is visibly shaking. She's probably in her late 30s, wearing a lab coat with dark jeans and green Converse low tops. I have a strange sense that her fear is not just about our sudden appearance. She looks like a woman who's been running scared for a while now. Her hands are raised in surrender. She's not holding a weapon. Marcus slowly approaches, taking a few steps ahead of me. "It's Amy, right?" he asks. She blinks, seemingly surprised that he knows her name. "Yes, and you're Mark." "Marcus." She nods absently and then looks to my rifle. Assert dominance. I have to maintain like some sort of dominant status amongst everybody so that I don't get fucked with. Marcus, I already punched him in his fucking mouth. That asserts my dominance there. Here, I want her to think that I'm alright using the rifle. She laughs nervously and it echoes loudly in the barren hallway. "Don't we all?" she says. Smartass. Fuck. "I have a friend back in the command center who needs medical attention," I say, "and we're looking for the rest of our crew." "I'm really sorry, but I don't know where they are," she says. I can't do girls' voices, I'm sorry. "Do you know what happened?" Marcus asks from the power outage. "I don't know what caused it," she says, "but there was an experiment taking place when the outage occurred. Something happened, and..." She trails off here, giving me a look of distrust. "I saw things on the security monitors," Marcus says. "The experiment failed, didn't it?" "I don't know the specifics," Amy says. "I barely escaped the third floor. I was going to go to the command center to see if the security footage showed anything, but then I saw you and the gun." Listening to their conversation, I'm feeling totally in the dark. What experiments? I want to know more about what the fuck is going on here. Amy looks to me, her eyes wide and terrified. Who are you anyway?" she asks. I quickly give her my story. A logger stranded in the woods following a peculiar explosion at the logging site. As I tell her, recognition blooms in her eyes. "You're one of the loggers?" "Yes." She then looks to Marcus and says, "I thought they were being watched." "They were," Marcus says. "This was a freak accident, and there's no proof that they were responsible." I feel myself wanting to submit to all the questions that are piling up in my head, but Dennis is waiting for me. This is a tough bit of information. I want to get medical help for Dennis. That's what we came down here for. As much as I would like more details, I can get those anyways. I decide that despite my curiosity, I need to get Dennis help as soon as humanly possible. Look, is there any medical help to be had here or not? I ask. Probably, Amy says, but you'd have to find Colonel Barksdale. He knows where all of these sorts of supplies are. And where is he? Where's everyone else? I ask. At this, Amy starts to weep. She falls to her knees as if someone had struck her from behind. Gone, she says. Some were killed and some were just, I don't know. They disappeared right in front of me. Disappeared? Ooh, or what the hell is going on? What? I don't know. I'm gonna ask what she means by disappeared. Yes, she answers. They were here 1 second and gone the next. She snaps her fingers together for effect. Gone. Something's here with us, Amy says. We were conducting an experiment and it all went horribly wrong. Something came through. Came through what? Marcus asks. I don't even know that much. An entity, but whatever it is, it's still here somewhere. Amy responds. How could you not know? Don't you have full security access? I ask. No. I have access to almost everything, but there are 2 levels of security beyond my clearance. So what do you suggest we do now? I ask. I'm not sure, she says, wiping her tears away. But if you want to find your crew, we need to find Barksdale. He's in charge. Where is he? I ask. Down on the 3rd level. In the hangar. Then let's go, I say. It's not that easy, Amy says, again looking to the rifle in my hands. Why not? Like I said, something came through and the power went out. There's several of them, all roaming the 3rd level. What came through? We need to know as much as we can before we go down there. All I know is that the others refer to them as entities. Amy shudders as she recalls the horrors she's seen. I don't even know how to describe them. I didn't get a good look, she says. All I did was run for my life. Behind me, I just heard screams. I know it's not very scientific of me, but I didn't feel like sticking around to learn more. She's right, Marcus says, stopping my train of thought. The things I saw on the monitors, it was crazy. This is insane, I bark. I'm going to the 3rd level to find this Barksdale guy. Thanks for your help. Wait, Marcus said. I'm sticking with you. If we want to get out of here, we have to find Barksdale, right? Yes, Amy says, but Barksdale's on the 3rd floor, and it's too dangerous to go back there. I figure I'll let them make their own decisions. In the meantime, I start heading back to the command center to get Dennis. Before I get there, I hear their footfalls behind me, getting closer. I give Amy a questioning look, and she quickly looks away, clearly torn. Neither one of you know your way around here, she says. Looking for Barksdale on your own would be suicide. Like it or not, she has a point. Fine, I say. Then let's get Dennis from the command center and head down together. Majestic. Yay, computer monitors, my favorite. We enter the command center, and I'm happy to see that Dennis has regained some of his color. We're going to go get you some help, I tell him, and then we're going to find our crew and get the hell out of here. More help would be great, he says. With the way you took an hour to get my shirt off earlier, I'm not letting you touch me again. Wait, Amy says, maybe one of us should stay here with him. I'll be okay, Dennis says. He stands to his feet with a grunt. You don't know what's out there, Amy says. I saw them. I saw what they can do. This facility is not safe. Okay. So, we could either ask if there's anything on the floor, or ask what they can do. I'm gonna ask if the floor is safe. I'm not sure, she says, but they are down on the 3rd floor, so we'll need to be careful. Marcus looks a little hesitant, but he nods his agreement, and the 4 of us exit the command center. Heading back out into the hallway, I look back to the monitors. I take a final look at the screen that shows my wrecked locking site, and I feel a pang of sorrow. Then I looked at the other monitors showing live feeds of the facility security cameras. I try to tell myself that I'm not looking for any sign of Amy's creatures, but I can't. That's exactly what I'm doing, and there's no need to pretend otherwise. We head back through the hall and towards the elevator. The tension exists between us is like a physical presence. It should be the tension that exists. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm correcting the grammar of the game. I love you, I'm sorry. This is fun. I don't know why. I've never enjoyed, reading games, but this is really fun. We step inside the elevator, and those pristine doors close. Inside the elevator, Amy seems to become much more guarded and distant from us. I want to assure her that I mean her no harm, but I'm also not going to put the rifle down. So you have pretty high clearance in this place, right? I ask her. That's right. So what kind of experiment are we talking about? What went wrong? When she starts to answer my question, I can't tell that it is something of a relief for her to get. No, I can't. I can tell that it is something of a relief for her to get some of it off of her chest. There's been a lot of work on a project taking place here over the last 3 years or so. The purpose is to find out if there is any real viable science behind point-to-point instantation. Okay. Like teleporting? I ask. Oh my god, Marcus says. I had no idea. I knew there was some weird stuff here, but nothing this insane. It's really not all that insane, Amy says. We found our first major breakthrough about 9 months ago. We were able to transport a live rat from its cage on level 3 to a small lab in New Mexico. The trip took the rat 5 seconds. Are you kidding me? Dennis says. I can tell that he wants to sound as if he is mocking the idea, but he fails. He's scared. Not at all, Amy says. The problem was that when the rat arrived, its retinas were detached, and its intestines were on the outside of its body. That's fun. Okay. Did you ever perfect it? Considering it's been 9 months. Well, about 6 months ago, we successfully made that same experiment. The rat arrived in great health, and this time, in just 3 seconds. Still, one of the things that we needed to tweak in order to make the process completely safe were how to figure out how to keep the subject on a straight course. When the matter is being transported, not only are its atoms being unknit and then put back together upon arrival. I'm gonna go with unknit. Yes, deconstructed and translated through space. It's the only way we know how to do it right now. But the issue, as I said, comes in keeping the deconstructed subject on a straight course to its destination. When the process occurs, we are deforming space-time. We are creating a shortcut through space, and that has risks. Why, exactly? Dennis asks. Because there are many more dimensions in space than the 3 we exist on, she explains. There's some evidence that there are as many as 10. So when you send the rat to New Mexico, it's traveling through another dimension to get there, I ask. Basically. And because of that, we're trying to get a better understanding of what those other dimensions are capable of. Things that a great deal of the population would be scared of if they knew what we were doing, hence all the privacy. Then today, the power went out as we were right in the middle of an experiment. Something happened. What? I don't know. She's speaking with the authority of someone who knows what she's talking about. What have you seen in these dimensions? I feel like that's better than asking about the creatures. Other worlds, other tag-mark universes, where our laws of nature don't apply, she says, not bothering to explain what that means. I'm not cleared for such things, but I do get the reports. What reports? Marcus asks. I'm given access to the results of the tests. In other words, Marcus replies, you guys have been peeking into other dimensions and taking notes on what you see. I can't believe I've wasted my life for this, he murmurs to himself. He looks like he's starting to freak out. Amy's quiet. Her expression indicates that she's waiting to see how I react to all this. I can either insult them and what they're doing. I would be really intrigued by that. I think that'd be fucking cool. So I'm just gonna say what I say. I was impressed. Yeah, that's right, motherfucker. So this is like interdimensional stuff, I ask. In a way, Amy answers. Marcus, on the other hand, is incredulous. I don't want anything to do with this, he says. All this time I've been working for... He laughs cruelly at the sound of it. He laughs cruelly, and the sound of it makes my blood go cold for a moment. Just a single level beneath my feet, you assholes have been tearing apart space and time, Marcus continues. When the elevator doors kick open, I can't get out fast enough. The tension is growing way too thick for my liking. Outside of the elevator, we step out into what appears to be a massive industrial area. The carnage waiting for us is unlike anything I'd seen in the upper levels. Holy shit, dude. Oh shit. You can see just the blood spotted everywhere. This area looks industrial, like everything was built for utility only. But more noticeable than that is all of the blood. My god, I have never seen so much blood. Those creatures must have had a field day. Holy shit, Marcus says, looking like a man that just awoke from a very bad dream. There were more personnel in this area than when the experiment went haywire, Amy says, as if the explanation makes it all better. The research you all do down here had better be worth it, I say. We have to get moving, or we're going to lose our nerve. Amy, let's focus. Barksdale is in the hangar, I ask. If he's still alive, yes, that's where he'll be. Then let's hurry, I say. As far as I can tell, Dennis is doing much better, but I am beginning to grow tired of trying to keep my fear at bay. Between the blood on the floor, the silence of level 3, and Amy's talk of the lab rats, I'm getting freaked out. I'm the only one here that has a gun. I'm going to use my testicular fortitude and go first. The four of us start walking ahead, with me in the lead. We stop walking when we come to the remains of what looks to be 3 different people. It's hard to tell how many bodies there were because they've been torn to shreds and are distorted. 2 of the bodies look as if they have been fused together. Another man looks to have had his leg welded through the floor. I can see this man's face. He died in an abject state of horror, his mouth pried open in an eternal scream. We don't have that much time. I'm just gonna keep moving. It's simply too much. Worse than that is the fact that we have just started our journey through level 3. If there's worse waiting up ahead, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. Dennis steps up beside me, and when he speaks, his voice is soft and flat. What the hell could do that to someone? He asks. The things I saw, Amy answers. Hopes Amy. They could do it pretty easily, I think. She looks pale, and I think that she may pass out at any moment. Tears spill from her eyes, and she is physically shaking. But she soldiers on, looking back to me and stepping to the side of the gruesome carnage. Her eyes again go to my rifle, and she doesn't look very hopeful. You good to go? She asks me. We need to move on, but for some reason I can't take my eyes off the scene. My mind is reeling, trying to process it all. Yeah, let's go. Let's dip the fuck out of here. I want to go see that general. We leave the grisly sight behind, moving into another equally destroyed area. From what I can tell, the next room was once an open area for experimentation. The place hasn't just been destroyed, it has been physically altered in a way that makes no sense. The girders look to have been warped, their very materials distorted and twisted. To my right, a machine has been catapulted and looks to have somehow merged with the wall rather than crashing into it. Beyond these phenomena, there's the standard violence I was expecting to see. There's a limp arm sticking out from underneath the wreckage, and more blood. I see no signs of an explosion, which makes me wonder just how this happened. Seeing the aftermath is sickening enough, but it makes me wonder if Amy saw it while it was happening. Did you see what happened to those girders? Did you see how these people died? If I asked her about the people, it might send her into another panicking fit, so I'm going to ask about the girders. I only caught a glimpse of it, she says. It was like trying to focus your eye on something that was too close. They just started twisting, but not creaking or breaking. It's like those creatures are able to deform matter. She pauses here, and that's when we can hear something echo through the facility. It comes from behind us and slightly to the right. I'm not sure what it is, but it makes my blood feel like ice. It sounds almost like static from an AM radio, but there's a high-pitched noise beneath it, and I can't even start to fathom. Excuse me. What in the hell was that? I ask, instantly clapping my hands to my ears. One of them, Amy says, voice a whisper. One of those creatures. That's what they sound like, Dennis asks. I see that she's leaning against the wall again, wincing at the noise. I suddenly realize that I have a death grip on the rifle, ready to shoot at the next thing I see. Anything between them and us. That'd be a good idea. Oh, shit. I don't even know if it's a good idea. Not really, she says. None of the hallways are blocked off by secure doors. Everyone seems to take this as a cue to start moving again. We make our way around the office wreckage, now with new purpose in our step, to not die. We barely make it to the other side of the room, approaching a dark hallway, when another high-pitched noise sounds out. This one is louder, and closer. We all share a terrified look, and I can tell Amy is on the verge of losing it. I grip the rifle tightly as we head towards the hallway in front of us. How much farther to the hangar? I want to try to keep our minds off of those things. Close, she says. It's just at the end of this hallway. Dennis speaks up, his voice like ice. Why don't we just haul ass then, huh? No one says anything after that, but I can feel the presence of terror around us pressing in on us like some Newfoundland gravity. Oh, shit. That's a really tight fucking hallway. I don't know if I like that. The small utility hallway is well lit. It looks as if it was designed to only be used by select maintenance workers. What goes on in this area? I ask. I'm looking at Marcus and I ask the question, but he only shrugs in response. She might know, he replies, pointing to Amy. I've never been down here before. It's just a utility hallway, Amy says. But at the end there's a maintenance room, and there should be a gun or two in there. It's also the most direct path to the hangar entrance. As we walk quickly and quietly down the hall, I take a glimpse ahead and feel the hair on the back of my neck stand on end. The lights become more sparsely spread, and it's impossible to see just how far the hall extends into the darkness. This hallway has the occasional trace of bloodshed, but nothing like the main area we've come from. We continue farther down, and just as I begin to see what looks like a large metal door further ahead, I hear yet another shrill sound. This one sounds farther away, but no less demonic. How many of these things did you see? Dennis asks Amy. 3, but that's just what I saw. There could be more. What did they look like? Dennis asks. Yeah, let's start to get a little bit of information on what we're working with here. I don't even know how to explain them, she says. Monsters, that's the only word I can think of. My mind seemed to struggle just trying to understand what I was seeing. They're big and they seem to jerk around every few feet or so. They look like they're made of light. That's about all I know for sure. You know, my ex-husband always said I'd let my word kill me. She continues, seemingly unable to stop herself. I mean, I doubt he imagined this exact scenario, but still. As we make our way to the hangar doors, another high-pitched noise rings out. Angrier now, Amy stops walking, causing all of us to stop and turn to her. We have to do something to slow those things down, she says. No, Marcus snaps. There's no time. We need to distance ourselves and get to the hangar. Fast. Amy ignores him, deep in thought. There's an old hydraulic door set into the wall right here. It hasn't been used for years, though. She looks to me, pleading her case. Together we might be able to pull it close behind us to keep those things back. Those old hydraulic doors weigh a ton, Marcus says. There's no way it'll work. Roger, Amy says. What do you think? They'll have a harder time getting to us if these doors are locked. Look, Marcus shouts, turning to me. We need to get to the hangar. Now. Okay. This is tough because they can warp matter. They don't, like, burn through it or anything. They just, like, warp it and twist it. But it might buy us just a little bit of time, but is it enough time to make up for the time we spend closing that fucking door? Fuck. I hate these decisions, I really do. fuck. I know I have to pick one. Fuck it, let's just close the door. You decided to try and close the door. Damn it, Marcus says. We don't have time for this. Amy ignores him and starts feeling along the hallway. Wall for a groove. Dennis and I start looking as well. A minute passes, then I see a small metal frame that runs from the floor to the ceiling. Is that it? I ask. Yes, Amy says. I look to the floor and see an old metal track that runs along the frame. Let's move it, I say. Amy, Dennis, and I start pulling as hard as we can, but it barely budges an inch. Behind us, that static noise rings out again. My heart seems to stutter, and Marcus lets out a little whine. We're running out of time. We need to go. Marcus screams. Those things are getting closer every second. So either we can abandon it and dip, or we can get Marcus to have Marcus help. Come on. It won't make a difference, he says. We shut up and help us, then we'll find out. I shout. Reluctantly, Marcus walks over and grasps the door. We all groan as we strain to pull. It starts inching slowly, and then begins moving steadily. Once we get it started, it slides easily. As we near the wall, closing off the hallway behind us, I think I can see the nearest glimpse of an odd illuminated shape in the darkness. It's cut off by the slight thump of the hydraulic door being pushed against the frame in the opposite wall. Amy turns the lock into place. Great, now let's haul ass, says Marcus. We all turn and get moving again, still feeling unsure about our prospects. The fact that yet another shrill noise sounds out elsewhere in the facility is not calming. And then there are two of them. It's almost like they are calling out to one another. The doors to the hangar sit up ahead, like the entrance to some enormous labyrinth. I feel like I fucked up by doing the doors. I think I wasted time. Oh, that's fun. When we reach the hangar doors, I get a true sense of how impenetrable they are. A computer terminal is mounted on the wall nearby and has a blinking red light. Any idea what this means? I ask. It's an automatic lock, a failsafe from the lockdown, says Amy. I've never been down here before, Marcus says. If I'd known this door was here, I would have opened it earlier. How? Amy asks. The fear in her voice is more present than ever. From the command center, he says. You need to override from there first, then use this terminal to open the hangar doors. The command center on the second floor? I ask. Yeah. Amy shakes her head and lets out a nervous laugh. Are you kidding? She asks. We just pulled that hydraulic door and blocked off the hallway, remember? If we want to get to the hangar, we have to get back to the command center, Marcus says. Isn't there another way? Fuck. Turning to Marcus, Amy replies. Well, there is another elevator, but we'll need to go through biochem storage. I need to stay with Dennis so he can rest, I say. You two go, you know your way around this place. And you know the controls, Marcus. Fine, Marcus says, but we'll need to be armed. I don't know who the fuck I want to give the gun. Marcus is really irritable. I don't know if I try as much as I want to trust Marcus. He's really irritable, but he's also better trained with the gun. Amy's really shaky, and she's fearful, and I don't think she's got the testicular fortitude to use that. I'm gonna keep saying testicular fortitude. I don't give a shit. I don't care if none of these characters have ball sacks. They all now have testicular fortitude. Fuck. As much as I don't want to give Amy the gun, Amy's in a better mindset than Marcus is. Much better. I hand Amy the rifle and she turns to go. Marcus gives me a concerned look but follows along behind her. Once Amy and Marcus make it a good distance down the hallway, Dennis lets out a nervous laugh. And then there were two, he says. Dennis looks much better, but he still needs to use the hallway to stay standing. I'll use the wall to stay standing. Didn't Amy say that there were guns and emergency kits in the maintenance room near the hangar doors? I asked. Yeah, I think so, Dennis says, looking exhausted. I look ahead and see a door to the right that reads maintenance. Might as well give it a try. I go to the door, try to open it, and find that it's locked. Ooh, if I use my shoulder, it's gonna fuck with my shoulder. But if I try to kick it, it might damage my leg. So it's either how well I shoot or how fast I move. I'm gonna try and kick it. I give it a frustrated kick, but it doesn't budge. I'm about to try again. That's when I hear a gunshot from just down the hallway. God damn it, Amy! I first thought is that Amy and Marcus have come upon one of those things, one of those monsters, but I don't hear any of that strange static sound I've come to associate with them. Alarm bells go off in my head, and before I know it, I'm heading back down the hall away from the hangar doors. Stay here, I'll be right back, I whisper over my shoulder to Dennis, and see if you can figure out how to get into that maintenance room. Where are you going? He asks. I don't bother answering him as I bound through the door where Amy and Marcus went. God damn it, Amy, you had one fucking job. Not shoot Marcus. I swear if she shot Marcus, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. I trusted that twat with the gun. What the fuck? As I enter the biochem room and start walking between the massive silos, I wonder what classified chemicals could be inside of them. I am fully expecting one of Amy's creatures to come flying out from the intersection of halls up ahead. I think I overhear a voice, a woman's voice. It's Amy. Stop. Let go of the gun. I run ahead so fast that I almost trip over the two people in a life or death struggle. My mind tries to process what I'm seeing, but it makes no sense. Not at all. Marcus is wrestling with Amy, trying to take her gun away. When this doesn't work, he throws her to the ground and starts choking her. Her face is turning purple and her eyes look like they might pop out of her head. Marcus sees me coming out of the hallway, but acts as if what he is doing is perfectly fine. Physically stop him. One thing that people don't understand is that words don't do shit. I start rushing towards him before I really know what I'm doing. I bring my fist down in a hard arc across the bridge of his nose, and I'm rewarded with a sick cracking sound. He cries out as he falls to the ground, looking at me as if he doesn't understand why I punched him. On the floor, Amy clutches at her neck and gasps for breath. I start to fear that I was a moment too late, just to see the rifle has been thrown across the floor. Marcus seems to notice this. At the same moment I do, I hit Marcus again, punch him right in the fucking mouth. I deliver a surprisingly strong blow with my right hand, clipping his chin from my awkward position. I'm in the process of planting a knee in his chest to hold him down. His left foot comes out of nowhere, landing hard. The kick catches me squarely in my ribs, knocking the breath out of me. What the hell are you doing? He yells at me. By killing her, I'm saving us. All of this was her fault. I sense that he truly believes this. But if that's the case, then why not just attack her when we were all together? This answer is simple. We might have stopped him. He wanted to kill her in private. And then what? Would he have done the same to Dennis and me? It seems fitting, really. When we first came upon Marcus, he'd held a gun on us. We'd been so relieved to see another human being that I had underestimated just how unhinged he was. I'd been so relieved. Marcus and I both dive for the rifle, still laying on the floor, and start wrestling for possession. I'm not confident I'll come away with it. As we struggle, he starts inching the muzzle of the gun towards my face, a position I do not want to be in. I start pushing back hard, but if this thing accidentally fires, I'm not sure I'd prefer the bullet to go, especially in this room full of chemical tanks. Either towards Marcus or towards the tanks. I don't want to shoot a bunch of fucking chem tanks in a biochemistry room. That would be really fucked. So I'm just gonna push it towards Marcus. Marcus can go fuck himself. I grunt as I push the muzzle to point towards his face, realizing he is literally looking down the barrel of a gun. Marcus ducks his head out of the way. This makes him lose leverage, allowing me to yank the gun from his grip. I get to my feet as quickly as I can, swinging the rifle back around on him. For a moment I think I've knocked him out, but his eyes flutter and he looks at me as if I've betrayed him. Her people, he says. It was them that did this. She deserves to die. She did this. I look to Amy and wish I could help her. I'm so relieved that she's managing to draw in a few breaths. Her legs move as she tries to push herself into a sitting position. You wouldn't know, Marcus says. You didn't work here under their secrecy. You don't know what it's like to... He surprises me by lunging towards me, leaping from the floor like a human projectile. I don't have the time to aim carefully. I have to react fast. I don't want to kill Marcus. I'm gonna try to dodge it, but fuck, man. He's not making this easy. His aim is poor and his strength is failing, so I dodge him easily. I don't want to have a gunshot go off and alert those creatures to where we are. I make a hard jab of the butt of the rifle, striking him in his chest. Something crunches and he lets out a whoosh of air. He crumples for a moment and then goes to his knees. He roars in pain on the floor. Only after a few moments, I realize that they are not purely screams of pain. The bastard is calling for them, calling for those creatures to come to us. This place is evil along with everyone involved, he wails from the floor. If you were taking her side, then you deserve to die too. If you want to stop me, you better do it now, you coward. The rage in his eyes at Amy as well as towards me for stopping him makes me think that he'll deliver on his threat. I raise the rifle again, every urge in my body wanting to make sure he doesn't come back to bite us, but I'm not a violent man. I could easily not kill him and just leave him behind. Fuck. You're seriously gonna do this to me? Fuck. You're lucky I love you guys because this is really fucking tough. I want to let Marcus live. I really want to let Marcus live, but he's being a twat waffle, and I know based on how he's acting right now, that if I let him live, he's going to come back and bite me in the ass. Killing Marcus would be easy. It'd be easier. I shouldn't say easy. Fuck. This may be stupid, but I'm gonna let him live. I decided to let Marcus live. Just like when I could barely shoot earlier as he was coming at me, I can't bring myself to deliver a kill shot. I ignore him and lean down to Amy. You okay? I ask. She nods slowly. Have to go, she says, her voice raspy. They'll be here any minute. Too much noise. I have to hold her arm so she can get to her feet. We start to move forward, and then I think of Dennis. We should go back to the hangar doors. I say, I can't just leave Dennis there. There's no time, Amy says. You need to come with me up to the command center. Now. We'll be back for him soon. You're all dead now anyway, Marcus shrieks. If they don't get you, I will. He laughs maniacally after saying this, hooting like a madman. I fucking told you he was crazy, you piece of fuck. Fuck you, Marcus. As if in response, a high-pitched noise tears through the hallway. I seem to feel it in my bones. They're following his noise now, Amy says, her voice still weak. She takes off away from Marcus, presumably towards the other elevator she had mentioned moments ago. I follow her. As we move out, I hear Marcus slowly push himself off the ground and stumble off, slipping in between the tanks and disappearing. We start running, and after the first few strides, another noise sounds out. It sounds mechanical, but at the same time it also reminds me of recordings I've heard of whale songs. A sound of metallic creaking and crashing echoes through the doors I came in through. They've reached the hydraulic door we pulled, Amy says, confirming what I'm thinking. The sound grows louder as it's clear they're struggling with it, which is good. We have a bit more time. Yes, I didn't fuck up. I speed up my step to follow Amy as she leads the way to the other elevator. She's panting furiously but pushes out. I can hear something rattling in her breath, likely the result of Marcus's attack. This makes me imagine how his cold, uncaring eyes must have looked, staring down at her as he tried to deliver her to death. How she is still forging on is beyond me. I'm sorry about Marcus, I say. It's not your fault, she interrupts. At least you handed me the gun. I just hope we can find a way to survive this mess. I'm fucking reassure people. Morale. I'm not so sure, she says, her eyes fixed straight ahead. I'm not sure I can blame her. I just wanted to say something encouraging, I guess. We finally come to the elevator at the end of a row of silos. The elevator doors slide open slowly. At that moment, we hear something behind us. A strangled sort of whistling sound. We step inside and turn to face the biochem room, thankful we've been given a few moments to spare. The elevator doors remain open for 3 seconds before they start to slide closed. In those 3 seconds, I see a large shape floating towards us. A phosphorescent-like white glow outlines an impossible shape. Behind it, I see another shape that's also entered the biochem room, and another. The third one breaks away from the other two, taking a quick right. It moves with eerie speed. That is the direction Marcus had gone. Honestly, the thought of them hunting us down doesn't bother me in the slightest. Amy is pressing the button to close the elevator doors over and over, but they stay open for what seems like an eternity. I curse whoever designed these damn doors. Testicular fortitude, ready to shoot, let's go. We can't go anywhere, I figure, so no use in hiding. I take a step and stand firm in the elevator doorway. I hold the rifle steady, ready to fire, and that's when I see them in clear light for the first time. I can see their features, their shape, and their colors, but my mind can't quite process it all. Nothing about them makes any sense. My eyes try to see a squid, but that's not what these things are. They're gray and white and seem to be nothing more than squirming light. Their appendages are neither legs nor tentacles, but somewhere in between. They don't walk on these appendages, but use them to glide. They move like ghosts and seem to jerk every few feet or so, but I'm pretty sure that this jerking effect is not a result of their moving, but my mind's inability to understand how they are moving exactly. It's also more than their appearance that makes a mockery of reality. The light around them seems to bend inward, as if the space within the room has to reshape itself for their existence. That peculiar effect on the air makes the movement seem like something moving underwater, only faster. They screech in unison as they rush towards the elevator. They'll be inside here in another few seconds. I check the rifle and see that my ammo is diminishing. I have to start saving my shots. I'm going to have to be choosy. Fuck. You see, the problem is the old saying of when in doubt look unimportant, the enemy may be running low on ammo. That, I don't think they've ever heard of that, because right now they don't look very unimportant. In fact, they look very important, like I should be emptying the magazine into their chest cavity and or mouth and or skull. Fuck. I'm gonna save my ammo. No. Yes. No. Yes. Yes, I'm gonna save my ammo. This might be bad, but I'm gonna save my ammo. They keep advancing even though I know the doors may not close in time. I manage to keep my cool and avoid firing off any more rounds. My finger itches to pull the trigger, same, but I resist. I'm not even sure if a gun would affect them. Finally, the elevator doors close. These creatures wash against the other side of the door, making an electrical noise and crying out in anger. The tips of their spider-like appendages poke through the wall in the elevator door, but for some reason they can't get all the way through. Amy screams at this and curls into a ball in the far corner of the elevator, crying. I say nothing to her. I just cling the rifle, hoping those creatures don't find Dennis as he waits by the hangar doors where I left him. For his sake and ours, we need to get them open now. End of chapter 3. Holy shit. This is a fucking wild ride, man. This is intense. As fuck, this is intense. The blunt truth, you and 59% of players told Dennis he'd probably be fine. Slow them down, you and 35% of players sided with Amy on pulling the hydraulic door. Wow. You and 69% of players gave the gun to Amy. It's probably because she was the most level-headed out of the two of them. Murder or mercy, you and 58% of players left Marcus alive. An hour later, you and 68% of players conserved your bullets for later instead of shooting the creatures. I'm really surprised how, close to even it was between murdering and letting Marcus live and telling Dennis that he'd be okay. I can understand why people would be honest with Dennis, but I'm a strong believer that your morale does affect your performance, which is why I always try to keep morale up whenever I'm in a group. It's team building. It's what I learned team building anyways. So there's always that. Anyways, that is the end of chapter 3 for this episode. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, very much for watching. If you liked the video, punch the shit out of the like button. Check out our Facebook and our Twitter pages, and don't forget to share these videos with your friends. As always, I will see you in the next video.